So, since they've racked up child support against me for the last year, without my knowledge, racking it up to now almost $15,000. I can't work because I'm taking care of my current husband, who was in a motorcycle accident 2 years ago. It was, honest to God, the worst day of my life. It was peak of COVID. I had 3 children. I was pregnant with my 4th at the time. We had literally just found out that I was pregnant with my 4th son. He got into an accident on his motorcycle. Was not his fault. He was not drunk. He was not high. None of that. So ever since his accident, his health has consistently declined. Now, last year, when I had gotten, the letter in the mail for income withholding, my current husband, and I started kind of panicking, like, what the hell? And since my current husband can't take care of himself and is now 100% dependent on me, I can't work. He can't be left alone. And I've explained this to the court. There's no way for me to work right now. We are now 2 months away from his disability hearing, with all the medical documentation that from the accident to current time. He was recently diagnosed with neuropathy, orbital cellulitis, and facial cellulitis, because in his accident he had shattered the whole right side of his face. Children. So what ended up happening was he got an infection in his bad eye and in his face where the plates are. And he was on some massive antibiotics for that. They did a PICC line in his arm for his IV antibiotics that he had to do at home, and oral antibiotics. Now, he's progressively gotten worse since that all happened. He has now been diagnosed with neuropathy of the joints, which what that does is that deteriorates the movement of your joints. So, like being able to use your hands and make a fist or bend your toes to walk and things like that. He's losing that ability. So, I did attempt to work. I did attempt to leave him home with both of our kids. Because last year I had my last and final son. He is now 7 months old. Going on 18 months old this month. Well, my first day of work wasn't anything special. I was a dishwasher. It is what it is. Money was money. And I wasn't being picky. My husband had called me frantically. He had fallen in our house and was at home by himself with our 2 young children. Mine and my current husband's oldest is 2. So there's nothing that my 2-year-old can do. You know, and my mother-in-law is, give or take, 20 minutes away. So I get a phone call from my mother. And she's frantic. She's terrified. She's confused. She's everything. Says, Heather, you have a warrant out for your arrest. You have a bench warrant. And it's like, what are you talking about? Says, you have a bench warrant out for your arrest because you haven't made a payment to child support. Now, I set up a GoFundMe account probably quite a few months ago because I was having issues with my truck. And when I mean issues, like, they're not small issues. Just to have one thing done is $1,000. That's just one of the issues. So, with that being said, I want to use my GoFundMe account that I originally made to help get my truck fixed to go towards another attorney. My parents can no longer afford to help me get an attorney. My mother-in-law cannot afford to help me get another attorney. I have tried getting help through the state of Florida financially until my husband's disability kicks in. And they won't help me with cash assistance through Department of Children and Family Services. I don't qualify for it because I have a house and a vehicle. Now, if my home and my vehicle was worth under $3,000, they claimed that I could get it. Well, I'm not living in a crappy house, right? It is a manufactured home, but it's a newer manufactured home. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom that we currently have for sale to try to get back to Michigan to be with my 3 kids and my husband's 16-year-old. So between myself and my husband, we have a total of 6 kids. And we only have 2 of them with us. Now, before I had my 4th son, my 3 older boys were with me full time. Their dad was in and out. After we divorced, he basically looked at it as playtime. He wanted to take a trip, he took a trip. Whether it was his weekend to have the kids or not. He was out. He was living his best fucking life while I raised our kids. Now, my oldest son is begging, crying, pleading for me to get him out of there. And my hands are tied. Because we figured that, at the time, my 2 older boys wanted to try living with Dad. So I said, you know what? I swallowed my pride and said, okay, let's try it out. Let's see how you like it. Because he was going through his teen stage. Part 3 coming.